Coming up on 7:59 on your Monday morning drive, it's slow in a bunch of places and fog's starting to move in a couple places as well. There's the look over the Glen Jackson Bridge out of Vancouver. There's a look down in the West Lynn area. So patchy areas of fog and the drive really building. I-5 is now stacked up solidly from just south of Hazeldale. That's about a 40-minute commute to get you in from Main Street. I-205 still suffering because of an earlier crash on the Glen Jackson Bridge, and the Highway 26 commute nearly 30 minutes to get you in from Brookwood Parkway. All right, let's give you the live look right now from our Wells Fargo sky camera. We had a beautiful sunrise not too long ago, and that has been swallowed up by the cloud cover and in some cases fog that has taken shape here across the region. Last check, we're in the low 50s now at PDX. Sherwood showing some sunshine down there. The plan for today, early morning fog burning off. We'll be in the mid 60s, I think, at lunchtime, and today should be a gorgeous day with highs in the mid 70s today. And then we dial it up a few more degrees. How about near 90 on Tuesday before we keep it back down in the 80s for the rest of the week?
If there's a store that has brand new name brand merchandise significantly cheaper than everybody else all the time, there's something wrong.
A large-scale retail theft bust at a flea market in Gresham coming up here at 8 o'clock. Details on how police pulled this off and the charges against the suspect. Also this morning, kids in La Center back in the classroom today after teachers in that district agreed to a brand new contract on Friday. So we're going to break down their new deal coming up in a live report. Plus.
And Oregon's a super exciting place to grow nuts.
Yeah, you could say the story is a little nutty. Actually, it's a whole lot of nuts. Hazelnuts, to be exact. Coming up here at 8:15, the booming business behind Oregon's state nut. The 8 o'clock hour of sunrise starts right now. Good morning and thanks for joining us here on the Sunrise Show on this Monday morning. I'm Drew Carney. I'm going to give Chris McGinnis the participation award today because he actually showed up. We have no China Green, we have no Rod Hill, but we do have Chris doing weather and traffic.
Double duty today. Okay, we've got clicker number one, which is, check this out. This is like almost apocalyptic looking, right? We started the day with brilliant sunshine, just gorgeous out there, and the cloud cover and low clouds and in some cases fog has really built in here over the last 45 minutes or so. And at last check at PDX, we're currently in the 40s right now. Sherwood down towards Washington County here, it's interesting. You can see some of this cloud cover trying to work its way in from the northern Willamette Valley this morning. We're waking up to temperatures that are as cool as they've been in the last 3 months. PDX unofficially started this morning off at 48 degrees. The coolest morning since mid-June. We're up to 52, but the fog has set up shop. Vancouver was down as low as 46. You're now 51. And the big perspective across the region, Burns has warmed. Burns started off in the 20s. You're now up to 37 degrees. All right, the plan for today, morning fog giving way to plenty of sunshine this afternoon and a really beautiful finish to our Monday. I've got Portland getting up to 76 today, and then we zoom into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees tomorrow before we dial back the temperatures for the rest of the week, and we'll look at that forecast coming up in just a few. All right, the drive has been awful this morning out of Clark County. So here's the live look. Is this near Main Street? This is up near the Discovery Trail crossing. So I-5 southbound is really plugged up. Here's the deal here. You go from decent visibility in Hazeldale to not being able to see anything at the Interstate Bridge. So no doubt fog is likely adding to some of that slowing getting out of Clark County on the I-5 drive. The I-205 drive is still backed up because of an earlier crash on the Glen Jackson Bridge. That crash cleared a while ago, but you can see I-205 still has some work to do. So with that in mind, the drive time's not pretty this morning. I-5 is 45 minutes from Hazeldale. I-205 is slow and go. And the inbound Sunset now is starting to bunch up a little bit, getting in from the Bethany area. So at last check, that's 30 minutes from Hillsborough. Drew?
All right, thank you for that, Chris. Let's get to our top news story here at 8 o'clock. After a week-and-a-half-long teacher strike, kids in La Center are heading back to school this morning. Teachers and the school district agreed to a new contract late last week. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us live from La Center Elementary School. So Thomas, did you have a chance to speak to any of those kids or their parents when they showed back up for school there last hour?
Yeah, Drew, we talked to a few of them, and school just started at the elementary school at 7:45. Those kids streaming across the street into school for the first time in a couple of weeks, and they're really excited. But listen, they missed 8 of the first 12 days of school, after that teacher strike went a week and a half. Of course, it was finally resolved last Friday when teachers in the school district agreed to a new contract, ending 7 months of negotiations and the first strike in school district history. Le Center agreed to a cost of living adjustment and, get this, a cap on class sizes, which is really unusual. We rarely see school districts agree to class size caps because it's really expensive. And teachers, families, parents, and the district relieved and excited to have that strike behind them.
It's a big relief to be done. We were ready to go further, but it's a relief to be done, yeah.
I am ecstatic to have it behind us and be able to get kids back. It's the lifeblood of our school. Students and families that come together to help grow brain cells, and that's what it's all about.
And look, that's the superintendent, that's a teacher that you just heard from, but parents and students are also pumped up to get back in the classroom.
I'm looking forward to doing the reading part of class because I love to read.
I'm excited to get back into school. You know, it's important for him to be in here, and honestly, you know, it helps with work. We don't have to find childcare and stuff like that. So him being back at school again is great, and get back here with the teachers and his classmates.
Yeah, you can only imagine what the stress was like for those parents with kids out of school, for not knowing how long. Some parents we spoke to said grandparents played a really big role over the last few weeks here in Le Center. Big question remaining, though, is, okay, what about those 8 days that we missed, right? Are those going to be made up? We asked the superintendent that question. He says those 8 school days will be made up. The decision on when that'll happen is going to be at a September 23rd board meeting. The school board is expected to decide then when those days will be. Drew?
Thomas, I don't know if you heard the rumors on the street there in Le Center, but rumor has it if this strike didn't end by today, they were going to put you in charge of math classes there at the elementary school. I don't know how that would have went exactly.
Would have been a bad idea. Would not have worked well.
All right, Thomas Schultz doing what he does well, giving us that live update from Le Center. Hey, we also want to let you know classes in the Molalla River School District are running 2 hours late today because of a district-wide power outage. Head Start and early childhood centers in that area are also starting 2 hours late. In other local news, police arrested a vendor at a Gresham flea market over the weekend for his part in a large retail theft ring. Months of investigating led to thousands of dollars worth of stolen merchandise. KGW's Jake Holter has the details.
A fencing operation found out Sunday. Thousands of dollars worth of clothing, toiletries, cosmetics, and laundry detergent being carried out and loaded into a police van.
Items that are, easily you can get in and out of the store pretty quickly. As you've seen, there's bags back here, lots of jeans, things that you could just swipe off the counter or grab in stacks, to just kind of go out the door and get quickly.
The Multnomah County District Attorney's Office, Gresham Police, Portland Police, and the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office all working for months on this bust.
We recognize the harm a business like this can do to the community. When a thrift business like this shifts into becoming a fencing operation for stolen property, it harms everyone. It drives up prices at every legitimate retailer for every product that we buy. And this is a part of our effort to really combat the root of organized retail crime, not just the symptom of the theft.
Gresham Police Detective Adam Wright says a Saeed Alawi of Portland was running the theft ring as a vendor inside the Oregon flea market.
This is sort of the culmination of working up through a chain of organized retail thefts, beginning with targeted missions to interdict the thieves themselves, debrief them, gain information about where they sell their products, working up to this kind of final location where that stolen property is sold back to consumers.
Law enforcement says roughly 1,200 stolen items were found on the scene, equaling more than $10,000, not including what was found at Alawi's residence. Wright says the public can help stop these by being eagle-eyed when shopping.
The saying, if it's a deal that's too good to be true, really does apply. If there's a store that has brand new name brand merchandise significantly cheaper than everybody else all the time, there's something wrong.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
All right, next here, a series of stories from Marion County, starting with a deadly house fire in Salem. This happened around 6:30 Sunday morning in a neighborhood west of Liberty Road South off Cunningham Lane. Conditions were bad enough that extra crews had to be called in to help fight this fire. 2 people were trapped inside the house. Firefighters got both of them out, but one person died at the scene, while the other was taken to the hospital and we're told is in stable condition. Salem police say a woman died after getting hit by an SUV during the overnight hours on Sunday. So this happened shortly after 2 a.m. at Commercial Street Southeast and Hilfiger Lane. Police say the 32-year-old woman was in the middle of the road when the SUV hit her. The driver did stay at the scene and cooperated with investigators. There was also a crash just outside Salem early Sunday morning that killed someone on a motorcycle. This happened on Gannon Street Southeast just before 4:30 a.m. We're still waiting for more details from the Marion County Sheriff's Office, but we know the crash involved the motorcycle and a car. Back here in downtown Portland, a live look now from our Rose City Skycam. You see some of the rain or the mist, some of the moisture on the camera here this morning as we look at the city, and we bring in Chris McGinnis for a look at today's forecast. Chris, it was really a rainy start all around the area yesterday, Sunday. How are things looking outside right now?
Well, the result of the rain is the low cloudiness and fog that has set up shop. So perfect ingredients, the longer September nights, the coolest morning that we've had in 3 months, coupled with the 2/3 of an inch of rain that a lot of the region saw yesterday. Perfect ingredients for low clouds and fog. We'll take you above that. This is from Timberline, and you can see how thin that low cloudiness is here, right? This is up in the Cascades, and you can see through the nooks and crannies of the Coast Range there, the low cloud deck that has worked its way to the east as well. That's going to disappear pretty quickly, but in the short term, if you're stepping outside, wow. So the Wells Fargo sky camera sits atop the Wells Fargo building at about 550 feet, and you can see that the low cloud deck has pretty well swallowed up that camera, right? Right now in downtown Portland, we're at about 52 degrees. Here's the shot from Vancouver. We're now starting to see the interstate bridge again, so the fog is actually starting to lift a little bit in Vancouver, but it's a foggy morning out there for some of us. In the fog, the temperatures have come up after that very chilly start. Hillsborough now is up to 47 degrees after being as cool as 43. Vancouver was as cool as 46 this morning, now up to 51. Elsewhere, Burns also warming up. Burns started off in the 20s. You're now up to 37. All right, the plan for today, whatever brief morning low clouds and fog that we have, that burns off. We've got full sunshine in the forecast this afternoon and a good-looking day today. 76 this afternoon. Not nearly as chilly tonight. With an east breeze developing, temperatures may hold near 60 in Portland tonight, and that'll set the stage for kind of a launching pad to a hot day, we think, tomorrow. Upper 80s to maybe 90 on Tuesday. Not a record, but certainly a lot warmer. And then we dial back the heat the rest of the week. Next chance of rain, by the way, probably sometime later Saturday or Sunday. We'll fine-tune that timing as we get closer. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads. And as we mentioned, the fog, likely one of the issues that is slowing the Vancouver commute this morning. I want to show you the lineup right now on I-5, which starts up near Main Street. It is 3 miles of stop and go right now, getting in from Main Street south of the Interstate Bridge. I-205 south still pretty heavy because of an earlier crash on the Glen Jackson Bridge. That crash cleared quite a while ago, but you can see the drive times are really heavy out of Clark County. We'll switch gears real quick, take you over to the Sunset. There's Highway 26 out near Murray Boulevard. For perspective, the taillights, the drive that's moving from the bottom of your screen to the top, that's the eastbound drive. The westbound drive is also a little slow there, and with that in mind, your trip in from Hillsborough just shy of 30 minutes. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris.
Probably the largest percentage of Oregon hazelnuts goes to Ferrero Rocher and goes into Nutella and all those fabulous candies.
Chocolate and hazelnuts and candy, oh my. After the break, a new edition of our Fresh from Oregon series that's all about Oregon producing 99% of the hazelnuts here in the U.S. And later.
The suspect in the Charlie Kirk assassination is not cooperating with police. I'm Bofti Imam in Washington with new details about his ideology and what police expect to bring tomorrow.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On weather impact alert days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
This morning's Fresh from Oregon segment is all about Oregon hazelnuts, also known as filberts, which also happen to be the state nut of Oregon. KGW's Christine Pitawanich has more on this nut that brings about $110 million into the state each year.
And Oregon's a super exciting place to grow nuts.
And no one would know better than Shonda Warner, co-managing partner at Pharmacopoeia Farms. On roughly 1,000 acres in Albany, they mainly grow blueberries and hazelnuts.
We produce about 250, 300,000 pounds a year. Yeah, a lot of hazelnuts.
Oregon State University says the entire state produces more than 65,000 tons a year. And according to the Oregon Hazelnut Industry Office, filberts, as some people call them, are grown on about 1,000 Oregon family farms, spanning roughly 93,000 acres.
My great-great-grandfather came here from north central Iowa back in the 1930s, and he became a nut and berry farmer. But I came here in 2015.
She says the tasty morsels are shipped all over the United States and the world.
Probably the largest percentage of Oregon hazelnuts goes to Ferrero Rocher and goes into Nutella and all those fabulous candies.
And apparently Oregon hazelnuts set themselves apart.
They're very, very big, and everyone would say that.
While other countries are well known for hazelnuts, in the U.S., Oregon is at the top, producing 99% of the country's supply. That's according to OSU. And in recent years, Warner says more hazelnuts are being grown.
It's really fun to think about what we could become in the next 5 to 10 years.
Again, it was Christine Pitawanich talking about Oregon state nut, the hazelnut.
Little hazelnut creamer in my coffee this morning. Loved it. It was awesome.
It is good.
It is good. It's good stuff. All right, let's get you out the door. I'm hoping, maybe not. Okay, I'm going to bypass this. In a little while, it'll do a better job of showing what I'm trying to show. This pretty much tells the story. So here's the Wells Fargo sky camera at about 550 feet atop the Wells Fargo Wells Fargo building in downtown Portland. It's been swallowed up by the low clouds that have moved in the last little while. We started off the morning at 49 degrees at PDX. Pearson Field at least 48, maybe cooler. Hillsborough started off at 44. And the point is, after yesterday's rain and the clear sky last night, that has set the stage for the coolest morning since mid-June at Portland. Again, unofficially 49. We may have gotten as low as 48. Now the fog is forming out there. So a chilly start and some fog, but that'll be short-lived. We'll burn that off by noontime, and we will wind up with a warmer, sunny finish to the day today. So a good-looking finish to our day Monday. And then we go, woo, right back into summer. Okay, so it still is summer for another week because the official start of fall is next Monday. But we go into the upper 80s, we think, tomorrow with a nice offshore breeze developing, and then we'll cool it down a little bit with some possible showers next weekend. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, Futurecast shows the brief morning cloud cover and fog burning off quickly, and we go with sunshine for the rest of the day today. Overnight tonight, early tomorrow, the offshore breeze develops. That will keep temperatures up overnight tonight. So this morning we were, about 48 degrees here at Portland. We may not get out of the 60s if the wind sets up just right tonight for an overnight low. That's not a stretch to say that we could hold at 60 for a low tomorrow morning, which will set the stage for a very warm day tomorrow. Astoria 71 this afternoon after some brief morning clouds for you folks. The gorge looking gorgeous. Highs near 80 out towards the Dalles. You'll be warmer again tomorrow and up and down the I-5 corridor. Again, brief morning clouds. In fact, our modeling showing maybe some drizzle. That'll burn off quickly. We'll be into the mid-70s this afternoon, as we will be in the mid-70s in the valley as well. Corvallis may be getting as warm as 77 later today. And Central Oregon, again, a cool start, but a sunny, mild finish for you folks with highs in the mid-70s. Portland hits 76 this afternoon, 88 degrees tomorrow. Some folks might hit 90, and then we dial it back a little bit for the rest of the week. That next chance of rain, again, rolling in here probably sometime later in the day on Saturday. We'll try to fine-tune that timing as we get closer. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads, and the roads are not great this morning. Leading the way in the slow department is that is I-5 up near Main Street in Clark County. That's been slow and go for quite a while. The I-205 drive, not pretty either. That's at SR 500. So plan some extra time in from that side of town right now. 40 minutes the I-5 drive in from Hazeldale. Also, over on the west side, something is hanging up the drive on the westbound Sunset out near Murray Boulevard. That's the westbound side over there. The eastbound drive, of course, slow. It's interesting. You go from sun glare to thick fog, but whatever the case, it's a 30-minute commute now to get you in from Hillsborough. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris.
He does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family.
New details on the suspected shooter accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week in Utah, and the growing security concerns since the shooting in the nation's capital.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back to Sunrise. More details are coming out about the alleged shooter in last week's assassination of political activist Charlie Kirk, who was killed while speaking in Utah. NBC's Bofti Imam has the latest.
As crowds gather to pay tribute to conservative activist Charlie Kirk, charges are expected to be filed Tuesday against the alleged shooter, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, says Utah's Governor Spencer Cox.
He does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family.
State records show Robinson is not affiliated with the political party, nor did he vote in the two most recent general elections. Kirk was critical of transgender people and trans rights, and Governor Cox says Robinson disliked Kirk and his viewpoints. Part of the pieces of information gathered during interviews with loved ones, including the suspect's former roommate, who was also his boyfriend.
A boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female, so we know that piece. I will say that that person has been very cooperative.
But he says that's not the case with the suspect, who's not cooperating. The governor adding the roommate had no idea about Robinson's possible plans. Meanwhile, in Washington,
trying to calm the nerves.
The unease around security for members of Congress continues as some cancel events or move them indoors.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, I said to somebody immediately, that could be you or me.
Plans for a massive memorial are underway for this Sunday, and it's expected to draw thousands, including President Trump.
I'm going to be going to Charlie's, I guess you'd call it a funeral. There's the small one. I said, can we do the big one? Because we're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal.
The movement my husband built will not die. It won't.
I refuse to let that happen.
Kirk's wife spoke publicly for the first time, calling her husband a martyr and vowing to continue his legacy, which has gained even more support after his assassination.
Now, Kirk's influence spanned internationally, too. Backers of Kirk responded at U.S. embassies in Europe and Africa. And some world leaders also chimed in, calling him a friend and inspiration. In Washington, Bofta Imam, NBC News.
Here's a look at some other national headlines with your Morning Rush. Police arrested 2 men in Utah for allegedly lighting a bomb under a news media vehicle. According to police, they lit the explosive, but it apparently malfunctioned. But investigators found even more explosives and firearms at the suspect's home. The Federal Aviation Administration is threatening Boeing with a fine of more than $3 million for widespread safety violations. The agency says it found hundreds of problems at Boeing's 737 factory in Renton, Washington, and a subcontractor's factory in Kansas. Officials also linked the issues to last year's Alaska Airlines door plug blowout over Portland. Boeing has 30 days to respond to this proposed penalty. And Pope Leo celebrated birthday number 70 yesterday as people filled St. Peter's Square at the Vatican to deliver in-person happy birthday wishes. Pope Leo is the first American pope ever and also the youngest pope to lead the Catholic Church in 4 decades. And that's a look at your Morning Rush.
We just really want to make sure that anybody who needs a place to go has a place to go, and that's our goal here.
A new facility in Rock Creek to help more women and more children in need of a place to escape. Coming up at 8:30, a look at the life-changing programs that are offered inside. And later,
people was on the plane saying, smoke, 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 you know, yelling.
Toxic fumes mixing with the air you breathe on planes? Well, the new report raises a red flag over serious safety concerns in the skies. More on that report when Sunrise continues at 8:30.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Good morning, I'm Drew Carney. The estate of late Trailblazers owner Paul Allen has officially reached a formal agreement to sell the team to a new ownership group led by Tom Dundon and 3 other minority owners. Dundon is also the owner of the National Hockey League's Carolina Hurricanes. There he is right there. Allen's estate, meanwhile, says these new owners also plan to keep the Blazers right here in Portland. All right, Chris, what do you have for us in the weather section?
Well, fog has been the story over the last 90 minutes. Well, the fog has lifted up over the interstate bridge now, so it's improving over Clark County. 51 last check, by the way, in Vancouver. Meanwhile, downtown, this is atop the Wells Fargo building, right? So we're up to 550 feet into the air, and that's kind of why this is socked in. But the point is that the low clouds have moved in pretty quickly, and some fog in some cases. It'll move out of here pretty quickly by later this morning as well. So I've got us turning mostly sunny by noon with temperatures in the low 60s. And despite the chilly start, a beautiful day today with highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, even warmer. In fact, you might call it hot. 88 to 92, the forecast range for Tuesday.
Well, a zoo in Michigan is celebrating the arrival of a baby hippo. This is how we start the 8:30 half hour of Sunrise on your Monday morning. The endangered Pygmy hippo was born at the John Ball Zoo last week in Grand Rapids. The zoo actually hosted a unique gender reveal as part of the celebration. The baby hippo's dad bit into a watermelon, revealing blue jello and blueberries, so yes, it's a boy. Baby and mom both doing well. This is actually the 4th Pygmy hippo born in a U.S. zoo in the past year. So it's becoming a thing, Chris McGinnis.
I didn't know that there could be blue seeds in a watermelon.
Anything's possible, Chris, when you put your mind to it. I bet if you put your mind to it, you could look into the future and probably predict the next 7 days weather-wise.
They call that a forecast, and that's what we're supposed to be doing here. So let me get you out the door. We'll start off with the 24 hours, starting with right now, which is, you know what, if you're just waking up, it's been an interesting morning. We started clear, and then the fog really set in, and now low clouds have kind of swallowed up the view from atop the Wells Fargo building. This is up at 550 feet, right? So our camera's literally in the low cloud deck. It's 52 last check at PDX. Above the clouds, they're not very thick. We go up to Timberline Lodge, and you can see that thin low cloud deck here and a lot of blue sky above. So that is what's to come later today. But boy, it was chilly to start. And after all the rain that we had and the clear sky last night, that has been the perfect recipe for some patchy fog this morning. So that's what we're waking up to. That and, of course, chilly temperatures. 47 in Hillsborough right now. Burns has warmed up to 37 after a start in the 20s. The plan for today, patchy fog and broken cloud cover this morning. That lifts here by noontime. We should be fully sunny and gorgeous later today with highs in the mid-70s. All right, let's talk about that commute. And it has not been a very nice commute. And Exhibit A and B, the top corners of your screen there, that's I-5 up near Main Street to the upper left, and over on the upper right is I-205 near SR 500. So we've had a tough drive out of Clark County, which is still lined up at Main Street on I-5 and I-205 heavy from SR 500. 40 minutes right now gets you in from Hazeldale down to the Fremont Bridge, and that might be generous. All right, coming in from the south side of town, the drive-in from Wilsonville has also spiked in the last few minutes. That's coming up on 40 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville Road north of the Markham Bridge, and the trip in from Hillsborough busy as well. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris. Top story here at 8:30. Well, one of our stories here at 8:30. Classes in the Molalla River School District starting 2 hours late today because of a district-wide power outage. Head Start and early childhood centers in the area are running 2 hours late as well. So again, that's the Molalla River School District starting 2 hours late today. In other news, a large fire over the weekend at an apartment building in Vancouver left 7 people out of a home and sent a firefighter to the hospital. So this happened around 11:30 Saturday morning, just off Northeast 53rd Street and St. John's Road. Neighbors say they heard explosions coming from that facility. Firefighters said they arrived to heavy smoke coming from the triplex. They were able to limit the damage, though, to a single unit. The injured firefighter is in stable condition. A new Union Gospel Mission facility is open in the Rock Creek area to provide addiction recovery and transitional housing for women and children trying to get away from abuse, homelessness, or addiction. KGW's Jay Coulter gives us an inside look.
Angela's Place triples Union Gospel Mission's capacity to house women in trouble, and we spoke with a woman who UGM helped as part of their Women's Life Change program, and she says it turned her life around.
This is exciting, and when I came in, I got really emotional.
Around a decade ago, Sarah Tiarina spent nearly 2 years of her life living amongst the women in Union Gospel Mission's Life Change program.
It was at a place in my life where I desperately needed help and assistance and a different way of living. I had found myself in a pretty dark place and didn't know how to get out of it alone.
Chiarino was staying at UGM's old Beaverton facility. Now, this new one in Rock Creek can provide a home for up to 80 women and children with warm beds, nourishing meals, and space to rest and reflect. After 30 days, women can apply to the year-long Life Change program, which offers healing through classes and group studies that foster spiritual, emotional, and physical growth.
There was classes and teaching and allowing you to figure out what it was inside that needed to be healed. And it helped you integrate back into life in a safe place.
This new 53,000 square foot building has an education center, a children's activity center, a commercial kitchen, a counseling center, a courtyard, living rooms, and a chapel. Courtney Dodds with the mission says that the new building comes at a time when homelessness is on the rise in the Portland area.
There still is a big need, and especially for women and kids, they're extra vulnerable, and we just really want to make sure that anybody who needs a place to go has a place to go, and that's our goal here.
For those in transitional housing, they can still work at their outside job. For those in recovery, there are jobs inside the facility to help ease through the recovery process.
It turned into a complete life change for me. I go into jails, I help sponsor and mentor women. My relationship with my son, my family, everything's been restored. Healing has been possible.
Over the next 10 years, Union Gospel Mission plans to offer more than 2,000 women and children a chance at new life.
There's so much life to this building, and it hasn't even began.
And new residents can move in on September 29th. In Rock Creek, Jake Holter, KGW News.
In other headlines this morning, local Ukrainians are speaking out after a number of Russian drones were recently shot down in NATO-protected airspace. The drones were shot down in Poland last week, scattering debris across the Polish countryside. Now, this wasn't the first time that a Russian drone has strayed or crossed the border into Polish airspace, but it is the first time that one has been shot down over a NATO country. We heard from a group that provides medical aid and support for Ukraine, who says last week's events are another example of Russian President Vladimir Putin trying to push the limits.
Putin is going to test and check out what will he be able to get away with. This is not the first time such incursion happened, but this time we had 19 directed drones. I would call this not a mistake. I would call this an attack.
The United States has already vowed to defend every inch of NATO airspace. Portland police are aiming to reiterate their role when it comes to immigration enforcement. In a new video from Portland Police, Chief Bob Day says that local officers are not involved in that kind of work. The video also says that officers will not ask someone about their immigration status unless it's relevant to the crime that they're accused of. And because so many agencies have the word police on their uniforms, the Portland Police Department says their officers will also identify themselves.
Portland Police do not enforce federal immigration laws, and we also do not work with ICE to identify, arrest, or detain people just because they are undocumented. You can tell an officer is a Portland police officer because we have a unique badge. No one else has a badge like this.
A Portland City Councilor has also introduced ordinances to address immigration enforcement. So the first ordinance puts Portland's sanctuary city status into city code, and the second ordinance seeks to prohibit all law enforcement, including federal agents, from intentionally concealing their identities during routine operations. It also requires that badges be clearly visible. The man accused of plotting a mass shooting at a popular climbing event in Central Oregon 2 years ago will be sentenced next month. A jury unanimously convicted Samson Garner on all counts last week. It was back in October of 2023 that Garner tried to target an event at Smith Rock State Park. He was arrested with extensive tactical gear and guns. The prosecution also showed his text messages that detailed homicidal fantasies and violent ideologies. Police in Hillsborough are looking for the driver of an early 2000s maroon Ford Focus that was one of the cars involved in a 6-car crash last Friday. This crash also sent a garbage truck into Hillsborough's Chute Park Library. Firefighters say 5 people were hurt. 3 of them were taken to the hospital, but everyone is expected to survive. The library reopened on Saturday. All right, live look outside here by way of our Chehalem Tasting Room Sky Cam in Sherwood. Pretty shot there with the clouds in the skies. Dry skies over Sherwood on this Monday morning. All right, Chris McGinnis, what does that Monday forecast look like?
It looks good after the fog lifts. In some cases, it's quite thick. In other cases, there's not a cloud in the sky, like the Oregon coast. There's a live look right now from Lincoln City, the Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera there looking beautiful. We'll switch gears real quick and give you the perspective from Salem. Also not a cloud in the sky over our state capital this morning where it's currently 52 degrees. The rain yesterday and the clear sky that we had overnight tonight has triggered the onset of some fog. The fog is beginning to lift, and if you've been watching us for the last hour, for starters, thank you. Secondly, an hour ago, you could not see the interstate bridge. We started off being able to see the bridge, the fog swallowed it up, and now it's lifting again. So just like that, on its way to clearing, probably within the next 2 to 3 hours or so. Before noontime, certainly. It's 51, though, in Vancouver. It's 52 at PDX. Again, the coolest morning that we've had since mid-June. PDX got down to at least 49 degrees this morning, the first time that we have not been in the 50s since June 15th. All right, here's a look at Futurecast. Whatever cloud cover that we have out there this morning is gone as we head into the afternoon. So we'll finish our day with bright sunshine. Fast forwarding into the overnight hours, we get an east breeze developing, and that's important for two things. One, it will keep our temperatures much warmer overnight tonight, and it will serve as the launch pad to what's going to be, I think, a hot day tomorrow with temperatures well into the upper 80s for most of us. Futurecast likes Portland getting up to about 77 today, 79 Hood River, and 81 in the Dalles. Overnight temperatures hold possibly in the upper 50s to low 60s, and then look at that. The latest run of our model pushes Portland up to 89 degrees on Tuesday. Not a record, but still quite warm and a noticeable warm up over the next 24 hours. And then we dial it back a little bit for the rest of the week. A really, really nice week ahead. The next chance of rain comes in, we think, sometime late Saturday or early Sunday. We'll fine tune that timing as we get a little closer. All right, let's get your drive times, and they are not pretty this morning. It's been a tough morning commute, especially out of Clark County. We'll look at that in a minute. I-5 now, some possible trouble just north of the 205 interchange. A fender bender being reported there, so the drive really puttering along through that part of the freeway system. At last check, the trip in from Wilsonville now has spiked up to nearly 40 minutes, Wilsonville Road to downtown. And of course, as we've been talking about this morning, the Clark County commute has been rough. That's I-5 from Main Street. And at last check, our drive time sensors peg that commute at about 36 minutes, which, believe it or not, is an improvement to get you in from Main Street south to the Fremont Bridge. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris.
Flight attendant got on the mic and was like, guys, we're aware that it's smoking. We're trying to get in touch with the pilot.
A new investigation finds chemical leaks inside plane cabins could be making passengers and crew members sick. What two major plane manufacturers had to say about the investigation after this quick break.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Welcome back to Sunrise. A new investigation found that toxic fumes are leaking into airplanes, making both flight crews and passengers sick. In fact, one doctor compared the effects of the fumes on the human brain similar to the effects found in NFL players. NBC's Emily Ikeda has more.
This morning, new concerns about fumes in the skies.
People was on the plane saying, smoke, 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 yelling.
As some passengers have experienced smoke in plane cabins. The Wall Street Journal this weekend releasing a report on toxic fumes leaking into cabins, writing that the rate of incidents is accelerating in recent years. The Journal reviewing more than 1 million FAA and NASA reports, along with documents and over 100 interviews. The investigation pointing to two of the biggest aircraft manufacturers, Boeing and Airbus, particularly Airbus's A320 jet line, writing both have acknowledged malfunctions can lead to oil and hydraulic fluid leaking, resulting in the release of unknown quantities of neurotoxins, carbon monoxide, and other chemicals into the air. Airbus telling NBC News its aircraft are designed and manufactured according to all relevant and applicable airworthiness requirements. And a Boeing spokesperson telling the Journal, quote, "The cabin air inside Boeing airplanes is safe." The Journal outlining the effects of fumes in cabins, saying their smell is described as wet dog, Cheetos, or nail polish. In some cases, making passengers sick and affecting pilots' vision and reaction times, according to official reports obtained by the paper. The FAA says the incidents are rare and cites a 2015 review that estimated a rate of less than 33 events per million aircraft departures. But the Journal says its analysis suggests the rate was around 3 times that by 2024. The Wall Street Journal noting that most odors in aircraft aren't toxic and neither are all vapors. The effects are often fleeting, mild, or present no symptoms. There have also been incidents of visible smoke in the air. In February, passengers on board a Delta flight seen covering their faces in a smoke-filled cabin.
Breathe through your clothes, Nana.
The plane landing safely.
The flight attendant got on the mic and was like, guys, we're aware that it's smoking. We're trying to get in touch with the pilot.
Delta telling the Wall Street Journal the company was cooperating with a continuing NTSB review. Now this morning, renewed calls for air safety after takeoff.
All right, from that report, we take another live look outside here in our neck of the woods. Vancouver Skycam right there along the waterfront showing off the interstate bridge. Chris McGinnis rejoins the mix here with a look at today's forecast.
You can see it now, which you couldn't see about 45 minutes ago, right? So here's the deal. The cloud cover has set in. The little bit of fog that we had is beginning to lift, right? The fog, a result of the rainfall that we had yesterday. Really impressive rainfall totals and really our first fall-like soak right across the region. Salem picked up nearly 9/10 of an inch of rain Sunday morning. PDX picked up almost 2/3. Troutdale nearly a half an inch. Again, this was all yesterday morning. The sky, of course, cleared yesterday afternoon, last night, and with the clear sky, that allowed the temperatures to plummet. So fast forward early this morning, PDX got down to 49, which was our coolest temperature since mid-June. Fresh rain, clear sky, cool temperatures, fog, right? So that's what we woke up to, some of us. Hillsborough was as cool as 44. Hood River got down to 43 this morning. Current temperatures are now beginning to moderate a little bit. The airport's now up to 52. Burns started off the morning in the 20s. Burns is now warmed up to 37, and Pendleton sits at 52 degrees. All right, the plan for today, brief morning, low clouds and fog at the north coast. That is lifting. Lincoln City is already clear and beautiful, so you'll see full sunshine. In the gorge today, the Dow's getting up to about 80, and an increasing wind, an east wind later in the day. That plays into tomorrow's forecast. More on that in a second. Low clouds and fog this morning in Longview, Battleground, Vancouver. That will lift, turning fully sunny for you folks. Same story in the Willamette Valley, with temperatures easily getting into the upper 70s this afternoon. I've got Portland at 76, despite the foggy, low cloudy start to the day. We'll see sunshine probably by noontime. And then overnight tonight, as that east breeze begins to pick up, that will keep temperatures much warmer tonight. In fact, 58. If the breeze kicks in earlier, we may not get below 60 for an overnight low tonight, which would be very mild and sets the stage for a hot day tomorrow. Not a record, but 88 would be pretty toasty here in Portland. Some folks in the valley may very well hit 90 degrees, and then we dial back the heat a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday. I do have a shower chance in the weekend forecast, by the way, but that Again, the timing on that and how much rain we get is still in question. It looks like Saturday night and Sunday morning, the best chance for rain in our 7-day forecast. All right, getting you out the door with a look at the roads. There's still lots of red on the traffic map. We'll take you to one of those red spots in Tualatin. Man, northbound I-5 at this moment is stopped here at the 205 interchange. So obviously this crash, which looks like it's in the vicinity of Nyberg, is really starting to back up that northbound I-5 commute. You can see here just traffic really slow getting through that area. Right now we're up to 50 minutes, 50 to get you in from Wilsonville. So that has become our number one bad commute out there this morning. Not to be outdone, the I-5 drive from Clark County is still slow and steady from Main Street down to the Interstate Bridge. That trip down to the Fremont is still averaging about 35 minutes at last check. Drew?
Time, Chris McGinnis. We've got birthdays on the Sunrise Show. Birthdays that begin with this guy, Miles. 9 years old today. He's got a friend there on his hand. Happy birthday, Miles. Next up, Zachary, entering the teenage years of life. Happy birthday, Zachary. Christina's next. Now, I'm told Christina is the woman in this picture, not the baby. We don't know how old Christina is, but we know that she's slightly older than that little baby. All right, Pete. Happy birthday, Pete. He's the man in the middle, turning 40 years old today. And then lastly, but certainly not leastly, we've got Job. Job is 68 years young on this Monday. If you have a birthday shout out you want us to share here on the air, just send us an email. That address is birthdays@kgw.com.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Here's a quick recap of some of this morning's top local stories. Kids heading back to school in La Center this morning after teachers in the district agreed to a new contract on Friday. Their strike started on Wednesday, September 3rd, so it lasted a week and a half. The school district agreed to a cost of living adjustment and a cap on class sizes. Salem police say a woman died after getting hit by an SUV during the overnight hours on Sunday. This happened shortly after 2 a.m. at Commercial Street Southeast and Hilfiger Lane. Police say the 32-year-old woman was in the middle of the road when she was hit. The driver of the SUV stayed at the scene and cooperated with investigators. The estate of late Trailblazers owner Paul Allen has officially reached a formal agreement to sell the team to a new ownership group led by Tom Dundon and 3 other minority owners. There's Dundon right there. He's also the owner of the National Hockey League's Carolina Hurricanes. According to Allen's estate, the new owners plan to keep the Blazers right here in Portland. Also, a quick reminder, classes in the Molalla River School District are starting 2 hours late today because of a district-wide power outage. Head Start and early childhood centers in the area, also starting 2 hours late.
So the wettest day in months yesterday, leading to the coldest morning in months this morning, setting the stage for widespread fog this morning. That fog will lift, and we're going to finish our day with sunshine and 76. Could be near 90 on Tuesday. Whoa! And then the rest of the week actually looks pretty awesome. All right, what does not look awesome is the drive. Let's take you to trouble spot number 1, which is there. Move to the shoulder now. That's near Nyberg. I-5 northbound traffic really snarled. The trip in from Wilsonville is 45 minutes, which that's actually an improvement. It was nearly an hour not too long ago. The Clark County commute is getting better slowly but surely, but you still have some work to do. Your drive on I-5 right now, for instance, is still lining up at Main Street all the way down to the Fremont Bridge.
All right, one more story before we wrap up the Sunrise Show on this Monday. Carnival Cruise Line is part of a collaboration to mark the end of summer. They partnered with an ice cream maker to offer a Sunscreen ice cream. Chris has that look on his face that I'm sure a lot of you have.
A mix of...
Yeah, what the heck is that? Well, I'm going to tell you what it's a mix of. The ingredients include coconut cream, makes sense, cocoa butter, vanilla extract, and sea salt. So now it's starting to make sense.
So no SPF 45 in there.
No chemicals.
Not that chemical taste.
Well,
all right.
You know what? I can't say that there's not any chemicals in this, actually.
It's not all natural?
Just not the kind of chemicals I hope you actually find in your bottle of sunscreen. Staff at People magazine tried this ice cream. They said it was, quote, surprisingly delicious.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's a Frosted Lucky Charms.
No, that's
slogan.
magically delicious.
Magically,
this was
never mind.
Never mind. Delicious. So there you go. Your Sunscreen ice cream. I do have a question for you. You mentioned that this morning was the coldest morning in quite some time in these parts. Do we have an official overnight low for Portland?
49, possibly 48.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the
that is
first time in the 40s since mid-June.
And again, this is the final week of summer. The fall season officially arrives next Monday, a week from today.
10:19 a.m.
All right, there you go. Keep that in the back of your head. Are you questioning that? Quick reminder here, you can watch the Sunrise Show every morning on KGW Plus between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. In fact, it's the only place you can catch those 2 hours. Thanks for watching us here, and we'll check you back out tomorrow.